Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just got back from the gym. Everything here in Arizona is open, but we are seeing an uptick in the coronavirus. So, you know the drill. Social distancing, hand sanitizer, wear a mask.
Just do it.
But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we want to look at Peoria, Arizona. Last week I did a video on South Chandler to see how coronavirus may have impacted real estate. Today we'll look at the West Valley, Peoria. Are you looking for a nice place to live with plenty of shopping, dining, sports, and outdoor activities, but don't want to pay East Valley prices? Welcome to Peoria. Whether you want to live near the city or in a quieter, out-of-the-way location, Peoria has it all. They even have their own lake. Part of a lake anyway. Peoria has about 158,000 people, most of them centered in the 85345 zip code. There's about 56,000 people that live there. But Peoria stretches all the way up into Lake Pleasant. Before we look at Peoria, let's look at Arizona in general, because that'll give us a basis for comparison. These slides are provided by Armless, copyrighted by Armless 2020. First thing we'll look at for all of Arizona is May comparisons to last year. This year in red and last year in gray. You'll see that sales year over year are down 33.7%. That's enormous. Now we know that COVID has probably impacted that quite a bit. What might that do to the marketplace? Well, if you have less to sell but you still have people wanting to move to Arizona, of course prices are going to either remain stable or go up. And that's what we tend to see throughout Arizona. Another way to look at that, the bottom graph shows us months of supply of inventory at 2.46. A balanced market is 6 months of inventory, so this is a seller's market. When you're below 6, or actually when you're below 4 even, you're in a seller's market. Now again, this is for the entire state of Arizona. Each individual locality may be a little different, and that's why we'll focus on Peoria in just a moment. A little bit more overview of Arizona. We look at list prices and sales prices. So difference again between average and median is if we took all of the properties for sale, we divided them by the number of properties, we would get an average list price. For median, if we listed every single property for sale in a column, and we found the one in the exact middle of that column, that would be the median price. New list prices up 7.2% over last year, and sales prices are up 6.1% over last year. So Arizona has still been a strong market, even though you do see the sales prices tailing off in May. We know that the impact of COVID is probably causing that because May is normally one of our strongest months. Okay, I've kept you waiting long enough. Let's take a look at Peoria now. I have the zip codes listed at the top here. There are also two that are not included, 85384 and 85385, because they currently don't show median list price for all listings. And if you look at this, I've run the price parameters from 0 to 999 million. Hint. There are no properties in Peoria that are 999 million, but this ensures that we can cover all the properties in the area. Median list price of all current listings at $389.9, median sales price at $326. So there's a disparity between the list price and the sale price, and then average list price of $459 with a sales price, average sales price of $351. If you think about this, properties at the higher end are not moving nearly as quickly as the ones for, let's say, us normal people who can afford regular size houses. And that's why you see this disparity. This average list price may be artificially inflated by large properties, and so you see $459 for an average list price, but the average sale price is only at $351. But before I go on, let me show you that year to date, we are actually selling median sales price for the first few months is at $328, so you see a $2,000 drop there. And the average sales price was $358, again a little bit of a drop for the first few months. But prior year to date, we see that we're up both prior year to date and prior year with these current prices, the median sales price and the average sales price. May's average days on market, 27. For the first few months, it was 36. So again, because there are fewer properties on the market, they're moving quicker. And asking price per square foot, if you watch my other video about South Chandler, you can see you can compare average price per square foot based on new listings and the sold price. Pretty darn close. So people are getting what they're asking, but we can see probably in that reasonable range of sales prices. When we scroll down to the actual property sales, we can see over the last few years the way this is sort of a roller coaster in real estate. We know that. One thing that we don't anticipate, and again probably because of COVID, is May is usually a strong month. So if we look back at 2018 and we look at May, we had 386 sales. We had 401 in 2019, but May of 2020 we were down at 277. Much fewer, and we'll scroll down just a little bit to see the prices to show that, again, even though because we have fewer things in inventory, they're moving faster and people are getting generally the prices that they're asking. Median sales price dropped just a little bit in May, as did the average sold price. But this is an upward trend that keeps going. So Arizona properties continue to appreciate in value. We are the fastest growing county in the United States on most years. And so you can see that, we can't build houses fast enough to get people in here. And finally, market time. Average days on market. Throughout 2019, all the way through 2020, we see this continuing drop. Selling price per square foot. So we are continuing to appreciate on our property value. Now let's break it down a little further. Let's look at homes from $200,000 to about $300,000 to see what's going on in the market in that range. Median list price at $269, median sales price at $255, average list price $263, average sales price $255. Again, we see year to date it was a little higher for the first few months on both the median sales price and the average sales price than it was in May, but prior year to date we're still up. Total properties in this range, 92, 103 of those, 103 were sold. There's 92 left on the market now. 103 were sold just in May. And average days on market, 17. Moving fast. This is a stressed price point. We see, again, 17 year-to-date, 21 days on market, dropped down in May. Again, smaller supply, but just as many people looking. Asking price per square foot, $173. Sold price, $176. Asking price, $173. Sold price, $176. People got more than they asked for on these listings in this price category. And the month of supply, less than 1 month. Very few properties out there in this price range. This is the price range a lot of us can afford. This is more, the middle income kind of folks looking for a place to live. Again, we can look all over. You know how to interpret these by now. You've seen these a couple times. Let's look at property sales. Again, they're down because inventory was down. Prices continuing to go up over time. And again, you can see this. You can always pause the video if you want to look at this a little bit more in depth. And then time on market. Boom. All the way down to the bottom. Price per square foot continuing to go up. And remember, this was about the average for all of Arizona. So we're going to take a look next at 300 to 400,000. All right, folks, are you still with me? I hope so. We're now in the 3 to 400 range. We're looking at median list price, average list price, median sales, and average sales. So again, when we look at the median list price at $350 and the median sales price at $349, pretty much spot on. Average list and average sales price, pretty much spot on. We can see in this category, though, year to date, May prices went up, which is something we haven't seen in any of our previous charts. Also, the average sales price also up. Flat prior year to date, prior year for sales price, though, which is very interesting, although the median is up from last year. Total properties for sale currently, 188. May number of properties sold, 80. Days on market, 22, and we look at months of supply, 2.4. If you remember, 2.4 was pretty much the average for the entire state of Arizona. Year to date, we saw that actually the month supply was 1.6, so it's gone up in this category. Again, looking back at 200 to 300, that is really a very hot market. It's hard to find properties there. This one here, where we see a little bit more inventory, though not much. Remember, anything below 4 is a seller's market. Property sales in general, you can see that we're up for the year compared to past years for the number of sales, but dropped in May. And if we look at prices, it's a slower climbing trend overall, but it is still up in 2020. Market time, still gigantic drop. As the number of properties fell and there were still people looking, those properties went quickly. And if you look at the selling price per square foot, this is interesting. $169. Now remember, the 200 to 300 was $176. So people are looking for a bargain if they're trying to get into a house. There's no bargains to be had. Still, it's a lower price point than the 200 to 300 properties that we looked at before. And you can see people that are pretty much, they're getting just about what they're asking over the 3-month average. All right, next, 400 to 500. All right, now that you're educated consumers and you know how to read these charts, I'm not going to dwell on them. You can pause the video and take a look at them if you'd like, but this is the $400,000 to $500,000 range. So we're getting up into the more expensive homes. And you can take a look at the differences between the average, median, list, and sales prices. But again, take a look over to the right. If you see an arrow pointing up, that means we're higher than we were last year. The only sort of difference we see here, we see that 45 days again is lower than it was average market days, and you'll see this in most of our charts. And the asking price per square foot a little bit higher at $180 than the state average. We're getting into the rarefied air here. We're on the cusp of a luxury property in different, but now it depends on where you live, of course. If you're in Scottsdale, this may not be a luxury property, but in Peoria, you're getting a lot of house for $400,000 to $500,000, much more than you would in the East Valley. So you take a look at that. Again, look at the property sales, the numbers. The price trends, you saw a dip right here at the beginning or at the end of the year, last year in 2019, but then it started picking up again. And May really doesn't look that bad compared to others. Inventory, and you see the monthly sales and market time. The market time is 45 days here. Again, we looked at the past ones, 17 and 21. Again, people are looking for a bigger property, and if they're willing to pay that much money, it may take a little more time to find that for them. And selling price. All right, now we're going to jump. We're going to jump up to $750,000 to $1 million to take a look at what the luxury market's doing in Peoria. This is the last chart I'm going to show you for Peoria, but if you want to look at a different price point, anywhere between the $500,000 and $750,000 range, and you'd like a report on that, just leave me a comment on this video and I will send you a report for that area. So here we go, $750,000 to $1 million. You'll notice that even though we started at $750,000, went to $1 million, we're really not exactly in the middle of that range, although we're fairly close. Median list price, $841. Median sales price, $825. $848 for average list, and $818. So a $30,000 difference between the average list price and the May average sales price. You'll also see that these are down prior year. And again, it's harder to sell at this price point. There are fewer buyers out there for this area. You'll see that they'll ask more per square foot, but there's an 8-month supply. So this is really a buyer's market. So if you didn't believe that there was a buyer's market in Peoria, Arizona, now you know there is, but it's pretty high up there. So property sales, you'll see that none in April, only 3 in May, and you can see the prices over time. Really, if we drew a trend line on this, this would be pretty flat over the last 3 years for these prices. And we look at inventory. Inventory is pretty steady. There are not a lot of these houses out there, particularly in Peoria. And so you'll see that this inventory stays somewhat relatively stable. Market time. Look at that market time. Days on market. So when we looked originally at the Arizona statistics for the entire state, all those properties that are being sold, we know that there are fewer of these higher end properties and there are many more at the lower ends. And so that skewed that state average down to 2.4 months of supply. But here you can see that these higher selling points and the inventory they have, these don't dent those statistics very much, again because there's so few of them compared to what people can normally afford. This is the longest video I've done for my channel. I'm a West Valley specialist, and so I wanted to focus on a West Valley city and really break it down for you piece by piece. I hope it was educational, I hope you learned something, and I hope This can help you make a decision on what kind of property you want to find here in the West Valley, and if you're interested, please give me a call.